Okay. We're gonna open up for Q&A. If you have questions for Shawn, go ahead and raise your hands digitally, and then we'll call on you to unmute yourself. And while we're waiting for you guys to raise your hands there, so is Antarctica the most exotic place you've been to, Shawn?
That's relative. That's where we went a year and a half ago. And the little yellow thing you see over my shoulder there,
Uh-huh.
that's a six-person mini sub that we got to go down in.
Wow, that's cool. That's really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Last month we were actually up in Churchill, Manitoba, in northern Canada. Um, we were out looking for polar bears and
Oh
beluga
wow.
whales.
Wow. Okay. Have you tried wrestle with a polar bear before?
No, I'm going to skip that one. I did get to swim with the beluga whales though.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. All right. ZH, go ahead and unmute.
Thanks a lot. So I have a question for Sean. So
Mm-hmm.
as Sean mentioned that he's quite interested about technologies overall. So I just want to know that as a lot of AI is literally dropping each day and every day coming up. So how does he planning to integrate with the business or when he sees a new technology for the real estate?
That's a great question. We actually had a 4 hour meeting yesterday, and part of it was to kind of discuss what is our IT and AI strategy. I just put together a 10-year plan, kind of addressing at a high level what that's going to look like. Now, it's probably already out of date today, just because, like Tim said earlier, AI is changing so fast. Um, what we're looking at AI for is it's another tool in the tool belt. Just like debt, you need to understand it and you need to apply it appropriately. Um, Things that AI excels at today are the creation of like creative writing, creative post and things like that. One of the things that AI is not good at yet, unless you've specifically trained it, is things like accounting and engineering. And that's because the large language models are non-deterministic. That's a fancy mathematical way of saying you can ask the same question 5 times and you're going to get 5 different answers. They're all going to be similar. And for something creative, that's okay. Similar in accounting will get you arrested and put in federal prison. So again, it's one of those things that you can, it's good for analyzing, like large chunks of data. So you can drop a T12 in and say, hey, what story does this tell me about the last 12 months of this business? And it can spot anomalies and trends and different things, and it can actually be insightful. But I always remind people, I said, if you're talking to a large language model, whether it's ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Perplexity, yada, 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 think of it as it's a really smart college intern that has a lot of book knowledge, but it has no freaking idea how you run your business and what you really want. So you have to build that context
Yeah.
around the question, which means you just can't say, bring me a rock. You have to build the context around why do you want the rock? What does the rock need to be made out of? How big of a rock? How much does it weigh? Blah, blah. I mean, you've got to give all this detail around it, which is more work than a lot of people are willing to do. Anyway, another topic that I can talk about for hours. I think we've got another
Yeah.
question there, Tim.
Yeah, and I'll help add to that as well. The best is just start using it, and anything that you find yourself doing repetitive work, tedious work, and like analyzing stuff. it's always good to check with, even at a minimum, ChatGPT. Hey, can you do this? Or hey, this is my business. How else can I use, what else can I use you for? What else can I, what
Yeah.
other type of AI tools I can use for my kind of business and what I do? Yeah, a lot. That's the thing that a lot of people forget to do is you can ask ChatGPT or whatever AI you're using how to make the most use of it.
Yeah.
And
It's a
yeah,
great
and
hack.
yeah, yeah, and I mean, the there's so many usage really, so it's kind of I want you guys to be in the inquiry of what is it that it can't do? Not what is it that it can do, it can do a lot. So what is it that it can't do? Then it start to train you on, oh wow, it can do all kinds of stuff. So let me have it do this and let me have it do that. And yeah.
And that's a great point, Tim. I would point out, don't let ChatGPT make your decisions for you. Let it help you make more informed decisions.
Yep.
You are still the decision authority in your business.
Yep, exactly. Yep, exactly. All right, Brandon, go ahead.
Shawn, thank you. Tim, thank you for putting this together. Appreciate it. I've heard from more than one person in this space that now seems to be a particularly difficult time to raise capital. Um, so first part of the question is, do you agree that that's the case? And second, if you were doing your first raise in an environment like this, knowing what you know now, how would you adjust your strategy and your tactics to adapt for whatever difficulty might be out there at the moment?
So that's a tough question because it's very relative, because I don't know how big of an investor database you have and how much you've warmed them up. I will speak in generalities. I do not believe it's a tough environment. I think it's less tough than it was last year. We closed a deal last February uh, in 2024. We got that deal under contract in July of 2023. So, 8 months and 7 contract amendments later, we got it closed. That was a beating. This deal that we're closing September 8th, we had to move the date out 2 weeks, not because of the money, because we had the money raised in 5 days.
Mm,
So I think there's a lot of money pent up out there that's
yep.
looking for places to go. And it comes back to a lot of the things I said earlier about you having that relationship and the trust with the investors. If you're brand new to capital raising, really, this is one of the best times to be investing, because you're at the bottom of a market. And anytime you can buy at the bottom, it's hard to screw up making money as the market starts rising and lifting everybody. Now, like I said earlier, I don't think it's going to be a fast lift, but I think it's definitely on the upswing.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Richard, go ahead.
Hey, Shawn, this is great to hear from you, and really appreciate you sharing your journey and insights on the past years. My question relates to the HFC tax abatement deals that have been done in Texas the last few
Just
years.
say no.
So I'm wondering what your experience has been, and if so, how you might see those playing out now with the new tax or the state legislative bill that got passed, whether you think lenders and buyers are going to really truly model that new revised NOI. I hear a lot of pushback, but I just wanted to see from your expertise or circulation what you're hearing or seeing.
So we looked at getting an HFC on a couple of our deals. And for people on the call that may not know what that HFC is, it's a housing facility corporation. It basically lets a tax agency in one area offer tax credits to a property that's not in their taxing authority. So there's a lot of different ways that you could spin that. I'm not going to go into the politics of it, but the short version is it was too expensive for the properties that we had, and everything that we own is 200 units or less right now. You needed to really be up around 300 or so units for it to make much sense. And you also had to be planning on holding it longer term. Because I mean, that's really where you're going to get your big bang for your buck. Now, as far as what the lenders are doing for updated NOI, I couldn't tell you because we opted to not go down that path just because it was too expensive.
Does that answer your question there, Richard?
Sure, and it's one of those questions. It's going to play out the way it's going to play out. So
Yeah.
I think everybody's got some slightly different opinion, but I think it's spot on. It is expensive, and it is going to be a interesting way that it evolves.
Yeah, honestly,
Yeah.
my personal opinion, I think they're going to end up at least partially unwinding it in the long term. I don't know what's going to happen over the next year or so, but I think long term you're going to see that unwind or go away completely.
Yeah, I was talking to Sam Morris, and I don't know if I can. Well, it's generic enough, but yeah, they have a deal coming up that they have a special way to structure able to get the tax abatement. So when they are done with the deal and they know 100% for sure, I'll share more on how they're going about it. It's a pretty cool cool structure that they're using. Yeah, they're not going through the city. They're going through a different routes. But anyways, all right, Josh, you have a question?
Hey, thanks, Shawn. It's always good to hear other people's experiences, and it gives us hope. Hey, we can get there too, right? So, but you said just here the last guy that you believe that we're at the bottom of the market, and I believe that the I'm talking specifically about apartments are greatly overvalued. You used to be able to go and get like a 10 cap all day, and now a 6 is a screaming deal, and it's just harder to find those better deals practically anywhere in the country. It used to be like, oh, you could find a pocket, and but institutional money has just driven up the pricing on things, and I'm finding that if you want a deal, you have to create one by building it. Help me understand where are we going if we're at the bottom, and how are we going to get there?
Well, so the real estate market, where we're at today, we've come down 25 to 30% in valuation from the most recent peak a couple of years ago. And do we have some more devaluation that's going to happen? Probably. The reason I say I feel like we're at the bottom of the market is you're seeing all of the indicators of market activity. Brokers are starting to have more deals. Institutions are starting to put money back into the system. All of those things are going to kind of prop up the current price levels. Now, are they where there should be? I would love to see a 10 cap. I'd also love to see 12 and 14% cash flow. But that was, 15 years ago, and it's in the past, and you'll often hear the term, history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. I don't think we're going to get down to where we see a 10 cap and 12 to 15, 10 to 12% interest or 10 10 to 12% cash flow again. Is it possible on some deals? Sure. We all know there's those unicorn deals out there that you find them, you know, Ma and Pa Kettle have owned it for 30 years. They're tired of owning it. They never raise the rents. And, you know, you can go in, buy it, fix it up, raise the rents, and boom, turn around and sell it for a massive profit. How many of those deals are out there? You can probably count them on one hand. But again, that's kind of why I feel like we're at the bottom. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. You know, we may still have further to slide down. I just don't feel like that's what's going to happen. You know, maybe what ends up happening is we kind of go flat here for the next year, and then we have another slide. I don't know.
Sure.
I just don't know.
Thanks, Shawn.
Sure.
All right, Josh. All right. I don't. Jeff, go ahead. I was just about to see. I say I don't have any more questions. Go, Jeff.
Hey, Shawn, how you doing? My question is, I know you just sold something in Abilene.
Yep.
Would you reinvest back in Abilene if you found a good deal?
You know, one of my friends, Nick Espinette, is closing on a property here pretty soon. Yep. We jokingly refer to Nick as the king of Abilene. He owns, I don't know if he owns half of the apartments in Abilene, but he's got a pretty good chunk. I think he's the second largest apartment owner out there in Abilene now. If I was going to, me personally, probably not. As an LP, definitely not as a GP, because I don't know the area. I don't want to be traveling out there all the time. There are, again, it's like every other area. There are deals to be had, and if you have somebody that knows the area like Nick, you know, find them, get to know them, and then, you know, if you like his investment thesis, which is those tertiary markets like Abilene, you know, again, you know, it's like I tell everybody, I said, look, I said, I don't invest everywhere. And it's, you know, I mostly stick to what I know. I have invested a little bit out of Texas. I've got one over in Alabama, which the great state of Alabama chooses to tax me on the privilege of investing in their state.
Really?
Don't ask me. It's a long story. And then I'll just suffice it to say, I'll never invest in Alabama ever again. And just because of that. And is it a significant? No, it's like it's literally pennies on the dollar, but it's a pain in the ass. And I'm going like, you know what? If you want to be that way, I'll just never invest in Alabama again. I've got a couple of properties out in Arizona, and we bought them at the time when it was a good time to buy there, and they've done well. They cash flow, so they'll probably hold on to them. I don't know. I'll be totally transparent. I probably don't track my LP investments like I should, because I spend most of my time on my GP investments and making sure our investors are taken care of.
Understand. Focus on others than yourself. That's the person that gives a lot.
Yep. It all comes back around eventually, so I'm not too worried about it.
Fantastic. Appreciate it, Shawn. Thank you.
Jeff. All right, Shawn. Well, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up, and you know, we're gonna have our breakout sessions here. So, Shawn, thank you so much for being on our show today. Really appreciate you. It's been a great conversation. Always love learning from you, and love to see where you're heading with your business there.
Well, Tim, really appreciate you having me on and sharing your audience with me. You know, anytime I can help out, you know, you've got my number. Just reach out and ask. I'm happy to do whatever I can.
Thank you, Shawn. All right, everyone, let's take a group picture real quick with Shawn. Oh, quick announcement. Our upcoming event on October 2nd to 4th coming up here very soon. It seems like it's October, but as you know, time goes by super fast, and we are expecting a sold out event this year. And so, yeah, make sure you sign up. The links in the chat here for you. We do have a 30% off early bird special going on right now. So check out the link in the chat. All right, let me. Okay, all right. How do I adjust this thing gallery? Ah, there we go. All right, let's you guys turn on your cameras. We're gonna do a group picture with Shawn real quick. Turn on your cameras. All right, Shawn. So we flex on our show for our group pictures. You guys ready? 3, 2, 1. Yay!